Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, where the best video games of all time are put on display, where the excellent video games shine, where the average video games exist, where the bad video games are thrown away, and where the broken video games are used as coasters. Welcome everyone to July 1982. We last were checking out The Prisoner 2 on the Apple II. Let's press forward and see our next game. We're now on the Atari home computer, and this is Quarxon, another one by APX. Let's see the box for Quarxon. Yes, entertainment package. We're now seeing, I think this is the second APX release that's in the newer, slightly updated APX. So it's not the original APX, it's like the second variation of the APX. Break through the boundary and destroy the droids. We flip it over in the back, and I think it just has, it's the usual, I think every Atari Program Exchange has this. It doesn't tell you anything about the game itself, it's just about APX. Yes, here we go. Let's check out the other artwork for Quarxon. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. There's a lot of these games that have a lot of different letters and shouldn't be in normal vocabulary, so I'm just winging it as we go. Here's the ad you would have seen for APX at the time, and the cassette we're going to pop in. This is by Scott Ludwig. Way to go, Scott. Or the 5 1/4 floppy disk. It's cassette. We're still on cassette around here. Let's see the manual for Quarxon. So I saw two different manuals that we could use. This is version 5, so it's the later one, the new improved APX. Ages 7 and up. Yeah, there we go. That's the new logo for APX. We're seeing the sprinkling of the new coming in. This program is fantastic. We've seen some really good games that APX has put out. Yes, it's not total generic box art. I mean, look, it looks pretty nice. It looks more like a game, and they're showing a screenshot of the game. I love it. And here we go. No sooner do you discover friendly droids in a new galaxy, Quarxon, when your scanner picks up enemy movement. Headquarters order you to defend the droids against enemy attack. You only have one laser-equipped spaceship and your wits to outmaneuver both the enemy ship and the cosmic laws unique to Quarxon's atmosphere. Your objective is to fire your laser through randomly occurring openings in the center boundary line to break through the multi-layered blockade protecting the enemy's droids. Does that sound complicated enough? Who want to take over the galaxy? At the same time, the enemy is trying to wipe out your droids. If the enemy's lasers hit your ship, you face the immediate and often fatal danger of the crushing wall. Quarxon's atmosphere contains precarious conditions, like if you shoot through the boundary line twice from the same spot, you create a temporary free shooting zone for the enemy, so you must keep moving at all times. And if your shot misses an opening on the boundary line, the laser fire rebounds into your blockade. The battle ends when one player destroys all the opponent's droids. Quarxon has 1 and 2 player options. You can choose to do computer battle against itself, or you can choose 3 different difficulty levels varying the thickness of the blockade and the varying number of droids. Fewer droids make a more difficult battle since the number of droids determine how many lives you have. Yeah, let's pronounce it. I'll just incorrectly pronounce all the video games. This is now Quiznos, not Quarxon. So we need our Atari BCS controller plugged in for each player, cassette or disc version. If you want to contact, we can contact him. There you go. In Hawaii. Very nice. I think this is the second one we've seen by this author. So how to load it in, we know how to do that one. The first display screen shows you the instructions on how to play and what you're supposed to do. Now, the way you select the options, I'll go through that when we get in the game. You have different difficulty levels you can choose from, number of droids, number of blockade layers, and number of players, 1 or 2 player. And when you start the game, you have a joystick fire button to choose. So instead of pushing the start button on, wait, it says start button on the console. Okay, I guess that will work. After you press the start, the game has screen displays, and this figure, there's no screenshot, it's showing you a figure of what it looks like. The screen's cut in half by a horizontal boundary. On either side, there's a player spaceship, and the top of the screen is the player droids. Between the boundary line are the blockade layers, which protect the droids from oncoming laser fire. So you're going to be shooting up and down. If you're one player, you're playing shooting at the bottom. If you're a second player, you're shooting at the top going down. Yes, droid. Yes, droid should be copyrighted, but right now, who cares if it's copyrighted? This is the golden age of arcade games. The lawyers aren't stepping in yet. We have a few cases where people are suing over stuff, but there's few and far between. So everyone just goes with anything, droids included. You can call anything or play any game you want. I want as many copycats as possible before all the lawyers take over. So moving your spaceship around, you have the upper half of the screen, move the joystick plugged in, and hold the joystick fire button to shoot around. So you can see you have kind of a freedom of movement using your Atari VCS joystick. You press the red button to fire a laser from your spaceship and shoot it through the random openings in the boundary line. When the hole opens, move your spaceship over it and press the red button to shoot your laser through the hole to the other side. So there's essentially a shielding mechanic at work here. And they have cosmic laws of Quarxon. Nice touch. Law number 1, don't shoot while keeping your spaceship stationary. Shooting twice in the same location creates a free passing line on your opponent's side of the boundary line. And so they give you a suggestion for that. Law number 2, do not let your spaceship get hit by your opponent's laser. If you're hit, the crushing wall appears and starts hemming on your spaceship. To escape, you have to work your spaceship through the holes in the wall. The wall moves at different speeds and contains different size holes depending on the skill level. And then law number 3, shoot only through openings in the boundary line. And we'll see that when we start the game. If you want to pause the game, just hit the space bar. And then if you want to end the game, reset the console, and then it gives you some strategy and tactics. Very nice touch, Atari, and some creative ideas of mixing up the gameplay. For a really challenging game, play the computer on the expert level. You must be quick and good. Quick and good. And then at the bottom, APX always has a form to fill out on how this game affected you. Was it a good game? What did you like about the game? It has feedback in 1982. How about that? We don't like your kind around here. Your droids. They'll wait outside. All right, let's pop in Quarxon and Play by Scott Ludwig at the beginning of July 1982. Quarxon is another title that is, I would affectionately call dual shooters. Music! Hey, wait a second. That was a little bit of Frogger in there. Did anyone hear the Frogger? I want to hear the music on the Atari because this is some of the best music we can hear in any video game besides the arcade. And very nice touch. So here you go. If you want to do difficulty switches and all that stuff in the game, you do it all with your joystick. So if I want to change the layers, I just move the joystick over to layers, and there you go. It's changing the layers up. If I want to change the number of droids, I just move my joystick over to the right side, and the droids move. And if I want to do a player 1 or player 2 game, I change the option, and then whenever you're ready to play, you just push fire. So here we go. I'm going to play against the computer first. I'm down at the bottom. Wait, no, I'm at the top. So the computer is already starting to attack. I have the ship at the top that I'm supposed to fire down and destroy their droids on the other side. You can see they're breaking through the boundary. Now, I have a shield or a blue boundary. If I shoot that shield, it bounces back and hits mine. So you got to be a little more careful with your shots. But we've seen this kind of new genre that I've never heard of before. Got one of them. Nice. Now, if you do get a shot on them, it allows a second barrier to help you show up. Oh, he got me. Let me see if I can shoot him. There you go. So I got a shot in. He got a shot on me, and it created an additional barrier. I never knew this kind of video game existed because this subgenre doesn't appear in arcade games. I'm familiar with Space Invaders, Galaxian, all the famous fixed shooters, but here on the home computer space, they've made fixed shooters where you're battling against another player. And we've already seen a few titles like this. And one of the ones that comes to mind is Power Path, if you want to look that one up. It's you shooting against another player with shields or barriers, and it just changes the way the game is played. It's a great idea. I love these dual shooters. I don't know what they were called. They're essentially, you're fighting against someone else one-on-one. So it's really, really cool. All right, so I'm going to push the option button and go into... No way, you can play against... Hold on a sec. You can play against no players? Wait, I want to see what happens. Is this two computers that fight against each other? Anyone? It is. You can play, you can do spectator mode. I can't believe it. So you can watch the two computers fight and battle against each other. You don't even have to play the game. I don't think we've seen that. Most games, it allows you to play one or two, but not the computer fighting against each other. It's a riveting game, though. I mean, look how boring it is. They're barely shooting at each other. So you have the freedom to move your ship around up, down, left, and right. Not just left and right, but the goal is to blow up all the droids on either side before the other person. And then incorporate these shields in the middle that change the gameplay up a little bit. That's a good point. It's like we're doing a breakout, like Warlords, but I'd say it's even better than that. It's great sound effects, a great idea for a game, but this subgenre I've never even heard of until the channel, that you're going to do a shooter against another player. And this isn't the only one that does this. We've seen a few different ones. I just love the concept. And then when we want to switch it out, can I go back? There we go. So cool. So yeah, if you got a second player to plug in, this is the best way to do it, multiplayer. So get 2 players in. Let's change it with, let's do 5 layers, and then 4 droids, and then go. So now I got 2 controllers plugged in. Yeah, now we can both move around freely as 1 and 2 player and try to blow up the other person's droids. So I'm at the top again with a dummy second player because there's no one with me tonight. But you can see I'm able to shoot through the second part. Try to get more explosions in. Really nice touch on the explosions and the destructible environments. I get a kick out of that every time. You blow up the back. And as long as I don't fire on the blue shield, see, it'll ricochet back into mine. Let's get some good shots in here. And notice that whenever you shoot through a certain hole, it starts to close up on you. So you kind of have to, you can't stay in the same spot too long. You're slowly whittling down their barrier until you can destroy the droids in the back. Oh, they got me on one, so I got to come back to that side. Wait until an opening comes up. There it is, another one down. And I like that you don't have to just go back and forth, or you only have left and right movement. You got more than that. You can do kind of like Centipede. You have a little bit of freedom. Let's go shooting down this side. One of the reasons I love this kind of genre is having a friend to play with, to be able to play a shooter against one another. I know that later in the arcades we're going to have plenty of shooters that allow 2 people to play cooperatively or together. I know they're going to be competing against points, but you're playing on the same screen for the same objective. This is a competitive shooter. Why don't we see more of this? There it is. And whenever you destroy the droids, then you're declared the victor. And man, you gotta love the music in the beginning. So there's Quarxon for the Atari home computer. I'd say of all the games you could play to this point, it's another refreshing take on a shooter to have 2 people play against one another. I'm gonna still say it's around the better than average range. 3.5 stars for Quarxon. Above average, not really pushing too much any further than that, but a really good time on your Atari home computer. And if you want to check out the other ones, look at the links down below for the previous games. One of it that comes to mind is Power Path, if you want to see another one. Oh, there you go, more modern one. You speak of the future again, Victor. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. After this commercial break.
I am a Philips video board game.
Oh my goodness.
Dare you enter my infernal infernos, where the deadly Spydroth tarantulas lurks, or attempt to survive with an unmerciful dragon that breathes fire on all living flesh. You will require
there's the board.
And exceptional strategic thinking. The quest for the rings and what a new species.
Only 30 pounds.
From Philips.
Now, everybody wants that guy to be their dungeon master if you play Dungeons & Dragons. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the quest for the rings on the Philips Videopac, or the G7000 if you want to be the specific Videopac. This is the first time that Europe got the quest for the rings. Let's take a look at the box. Now, this is one example. It was in different regions in Europe, and we also have what was inside the box. Now, this is for the North American, because I couldn't find all the pieces together in Europe, but it's essentially the same thing. You got the manual, the super shiny one. You got the overlay for the keyboard. You got that giant map in the back. You have to have all the pieces and the tokens, and then, of course, the game cartridge. All of this included in the game, because it's not just a video game. This is a hybrid board game and video game. That's true. The Philips guy is way scarier, but in North America on the Magnavox Odyssey, it was Leonard Nimoy that did I don't think I saw his face, but his voice was there, and his was still really cool. Really good one to have it right now. And there's the example of the overlay. Now, if you didn't have this, you wouldn't know what to do on your Videopac. You have to know the start button, which monsters to pick from Dragons and Nightmares, and then where you're going to go, the dungeons, crystal caverns, infernos, shifting halls, and then you also have the Ringmaster control, which is essentially the space bar of the keyboard. And then there's the full map. Whenever you play this game, you need to have the map or board to play because the video game itself is not going to give you the full experience. And there's the cartridge to pop in. Quest for the Rings. It's finally here. Look at that. So epic. Now, we've already seen this one on the Odyssey 2. This was released last year, and if you haven't seen that, you can check out the video from before. It's essentially the same game, or pretty similar to what we played on the Magnavox Odyssey. But here it is in Europe. I have a reconstructed manual because the original manual for the Philips Videopac, I couldn't find a scan. You're about to become a legend in your own time and enter an alternate world where dreams and nightmares come true with fire-breathing reality. Special microcomputer circuitry will generate the alternate time frequencies and dimension warps necessary for finite control. Oh my gosh, they're just nitpicking what the computer can do. Yeah, this game is badass. This game is essentially, how do we make Dungeons & Dragons an experience that you can play on a home console? This is the full package. This is one of the best video games you could play at the time, if you were into that kind of thing. High fantasy, this is where it is. That's right. A complete version in box has got to be super expensive. I'd love to know what it says right now at the time, or where we are now, how much it would cost. So it begins with a story because Quest for the Rings sounds a lot like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, obviously, and this feels more fitting to play this in Europe rather than North America. We have the story, the heroes that you can play as, a warrior, a wizard, the phantom, and the changeling, and they explain a little bit of what their abilities are with the story, which is nice. And we have the monsters that you can fight. We have dragons, the spy-droth tarantulas, the doom-winged bloodthirst, the orcs, and the fire wraiths. And then your quest is to find the 10 Rings of Power. Oh yeah, you've heard that one before. Deep in gloomy dungeons, crystal caverns, mysterious shifting halls, and infernos of molten lava. To succeed, you must overcome forces of evil so awesome that your physical prowess must be matched by unstinting courage and supreme gallantry. Just keep that in your mind when we boot the game up and you see how we run around on the screen. Unlike other games, players work together as a team to outwit and outfight the Ringmaster's minions of horror. In this game, you can have up to 5 people total play. That means one person plays as the Ringmaster, the person who is controlling the map and the tokens and determining where the dungeons and enemies are going to be to prevent the heroes from winning. Yes, one person gets to be the Ringmaster. And then you can have 4 people play as all the other heroes. So as they move around the map, the Ringmaster gets to decide where they have gone and then create that event on the screen. And then they fight whatever minions show up and if they can get the ring or not. Such a cool concept. So here's a breakdown of the different areas that you can go to whenever you play the game. This game is also really difficult to do on the live stream because you can't do it digitally. You have to have a physical board. It's very similar to when we played the original Magnavox Odyssey in 1972. Most of those games had a board, cards, lots of other pieces that you couldn't play, you couldn't have the full experience. And this is the same here. So I'm just going to give you a little taste of what it was like to do some of the scenarios whenever you play the Quest for the Rings. So it first goes through training because whenever you want to play on your Philips Videopac, you have to know which combinations of buttons to push on the keyboard. So they have a training scenario here in the manual explaining, push these buttons, this is how you do this, and give you example of moving around with characters, fighting, and training the Ringmaster on how to have a great game. So this is all the training section, telling you about how to use the warrior and the wizard and how to go to different places like the dungeon and so forth, and how to use the phantom and the changeling. And it gives you a chance to test out combat. And then you can see here, don't go any further until you've encountered nightmares with different combinations of heroes. In other words, make sure you practice before. So it's not really the easiest, let's pick up and play party game unless the person that's the Ringmaster has played this game a lot. So you can see this manual is the reconstructed one. So they tell you the breakdown of which keys to push if you didn't have the overlay. Like whenever they say push the dragon button, that's actually T on the keyboard. Or if you want to go to the dungeon, push the Z on the keyboard and so forth. So there is the example of game map that they have. And then they tell you now the rules of the game. This one can be played as a 3-player version with 2 heroes and 1 Ringmaster. And then they go back and forth trying to collect all the rings and defeat the Ringmaster. So it's a really cool idea. And then you can also play as the 4- and 5-player version, depending on how many heroes you want and Ringmaster. And there's even a 2-player version, which I guess they have no one's really the Ringmaster. It's just 2 people playing together at the same time. But lots of variations, and then they have at the end even more lore of the magic of the rings. Yes, that's right, push T to dragon. Someone needs to write that one down. For other versions, we have the version from France and the version in the United States and Europe. It's time to pop in and play The Quest for the Rings by Ed Averitt, Ronald Bradford, Stephen S. Lehner, published by Philips in the beginning of July 1982. All right, so the game boots up, and there's really nothing going on until you push the Ringmaster button. So pretend you got the overlay there, push the Ringmaster button, and then you get this screen. I got 2 controllers plugged in. I want one player to play as the warrior, so as warrior crosses the side, I push my button. Now I have player 1, there he is, wiggling around as the warrior. The second controller, and when you see wizard go by, you push the button. So to select the character you want to play as, you have to wait for it to scroll by. If I want to wait for the Changeling, for example, here's the Phantom. You wait for Phantom to scroll, and then when Changeling shows up, then I push the button. Very weird, interesting, strange way to select the character. But there it is. Changeling's there. Boom. Okay, Changeling is in. Now we got both characters, 2 controllers plugged in, ready to play. Now the Ringmaster has to make a move. We want to go to the Crystal Caverns. So the Ringmaster now sees which area he wants to send everybody to. This one's getting a little too loud. Let's switch this up. The Philips Videopac has some ear-piercing sounds that come from it. There we go, and we're in. So now we're in the Crystal Caverns. I'm now controlling both player 1 and player 2. The warrior, you can see, has a sword that moves around, and all you're supposed to be doing in this scenario is go collect the ring down the bottom. So player 1 and player 2 work their way around the map to get the ring, and you're defeating the enemies. So if you played on the large board game, you and your friend, again, you're going against the... Oh no, he captured him! So one of the enemies captured the Changeling, but it's okay. We're going to have our warrior go down. Come on, make a break for it. Grab that ring. And he got it. So if you're playing on the board and you saw that you were in the Crystal Caverns, the Ringmaster would then have to decide if they want dragons or nightmares or so forth to go in the dungeon or location that they're in. And then from this main screen, you boot up the location they go to. So it's every time you play the board game, you're going to be going from place to place using different characters. That's right. It is just crazy. All right, so if you want to do it again, we can do T for dragon and then go into a different location. So the Ringmaster is kind of the dungeon master. They're making the decisions, and there it is, the dragon. We have the same characters we had before, and if you want to reselect it, you can. The Changeling allows you to switch to morph into different creatures or characters. Oh gosh, yep, and the dragon already took out the warrior. It's not looking good. Let's see if the Changeling can make it. Nope, and he got fireballed. That's a great point, Victor. That's what it was. It's for hearing aids. Yeah, this is just so bizarre. It is way out there. It is still one of the best games you could play at the time for the sheer scope of an epic dungeon quest game that spans multiple locations and areas. And you can see whenever you decide to play or go to different areas, all you're playing as or moving the characters around, you have limited action and 2 people play at once. So if you're playing a 4-player game, it's almost like you're doing 2 teams. You have 2 people that go to one area, like the Crystal Caverns, and another team of 2 players goes to the dungeon. Such a cool idea. Yeah, it is way, way out there, considering every other game we've seen so far at the time. But Quest for the Rings is still, just like it was last year, one of the best you could play. It is sadly not a game that we can't play exactly as you would in 1982, but I'm still going to say, of every other game on the home console, Quest for the Rings is 5 stars. Anybody with me? Show of hands. If you could play it, this would be one of the best experiences with a video game you could have. The board game / video game. Yeah, very early. How early? We're like 4 years, I think, early. All right, after Quest for the Rings, let's see what's next. Let's go back to the Atari home computer and play some Rabbotz. Rabbotz, I couldn't find the official box for. This is another one by APX, but I did find the catalog by APX that is for the fall in 1982. So there you go. Oh, this looks like more like a school catalog. But if you flip it open, over there on the far left side is Rabbotz by Jeff Johningman. Way to go, Jeff. A truly hair-raising experience. Need something to keep you hopping? You say you're already feeling a little jumpy? Then you're definitely ready for Rabbotz, the 1 or 2 player game requiring speed and dexterity. And that's all I have for artworks. No one hasn't found the box or a scan for the box online yet. Let's pop in and play Rabbotz by APX at the beginning of July 1982. Yeah, 5 for ambition, definitely. At least this time you can take the ring and throw it into Mordor when you play. Alright, here we go. This game. Nice touch. Alright, yeah, we're gonna raise this up. There it is, the Flight of the Valkyries. Add that to your public domain chronologically gaming video audio bingo. And they're even playing the notes. Those are the Rabbotz. Or Rabbotz. We can select the different options we want, 1 or 2 players. This is a alternate play, so we're not going to play simultaneously, but you can select the level that you want. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then for the number of lives, you push the start button, I think, right? Yeah. So that's very bizarre. The start button is the number of lives, but when we want to play, then you push the red button on your Atari VCS. They're going to use this as much as possible, probably. Okay, we're in. Okay, so here's how Rabbotz works. I am the player character now in the top right of the screen. The Rabbotz are the purple characters that are just moving toward my location. And you can see they randomly show up in different places. There's all my lives down at the bottom, and I have a house here. But the idea is I need to lay mines and trap the Rabbotz. So I can lay a row of mines here. Let's see if we can get them to walk in, because they're going to go to my location. They do look like church bells. Remember, you got to use your imagination. It's 1982. And then if you need more mines, you go up here to the house, and you get a refill. Down at the bottom shows me on my total count, I got 7 I can work with. And see, I can hide out here, wait for them to hit the mine. Come on, let's go. So you're luring them in to capture them. There it is. Yeah, the sounds of the Atari home computer are some of the best you could hear right now. Especially when it has tunes or music. It's awesome. And we can also get the happy face. It's like revenge on Evil Otto. All it is bonus points. So what we're experiencing is essentially a game we've already seen before. It was a really old game on mainframe systems called Escape, where all you did was try to lure enemies to different places. Where you did a turn, you moved your character one spot, and then all the other enemies on the screen moved to your location, and so you had to figure out how to make them drop in or fall in. So think of it like games we've seen before called Killer Bot on the Color Computer, or Zombies on ZX81. But this one is like the next evolution of that genre. This is allowing you to make the traps yourself. And the other types, in the other games that I just referenced, the traps just were there. You didn't have anything to do with it. You just lured the enemies in the traps. But here you can make the traps for the Rabbotz to fall in. And you also have more freedom of movement. It's real-time rather than turn-based, like the other ones. Yeah, it sounds like just a cacophonous of noise, right? Got him. And whenever you trap all the Rabbotz, then you move on to the next level. So we're on to level 3. It still is better than what you'd hear on MS-DOS or PC. It's just terrible. Oh, get that smiley face. I'm going to go into the danger. There you go. Nice. And let's see. Oh, that's right. And you walk into your own bomb, you die. Kaboom. Oh, yes. I'm making a break for the happy face. Nice. Okay, let's go lay some mines here. And then we want to lure them in. Let's see if they even get smart. Nope, they jump through. Got another one. Another one. They're aiming for your location, but they're not exactly going to your location. It's pretty... Look at that. See, this one's wandering around, not going directly on it. There it is. Got him. And if you ever need to get more mines, you just make your way up to the house in the top left. It refills the mines to keep blowing up some Rabbotz. Got it. And now we're on to level 4. The sound effects kind of remind me of something we would have seen on the ZX81, where they're just trying to throw sound to have any sound in the game, but it's not doing anyone justice. Oh, yes. Yes. That's a good point. There is a lot more that you could do with the sound chip. We've seen this one have chords for music or sounds, or multiple layers of sound stacked on top of one another, which is one of the best that you can hear at the time. That is a terrible example of what the Pokey chip can do on the Atari home computer. But as far as all the games you could play, Rabbotz is still a really cool experience. It's taking a genre we've seen from Escape or Killerbot and just cranking it up. Oh yeah, the gameplay is actually better than some of the other ones we've seen on home computer. So I'd still say it's around average considering the other titles we've seen for the time, and making the formula where you have to capture enemies or have them fall into traps that you can lay is a really nice touch. I'm going to say because of the other titles we've seen thus far, it's still a really good title. 3.5 stars for Rabbotz. Of everything else you could play on a home computer, definitely. Or turn the television volume down if you can. Oh man, if you think that's bad, tune back into 1980. Some of the sounds were so bad that I was lowering the volume of everything because the game sounds coming in we're actually popping and hurting my ears and messing up the headphones I was wearing. Yeah, really bad. So with that, after Rabbotz, let's see what's next. It's time to read a magazine. This is The Rainbow, the release of their first birthday issue. It's time to read The Rainbow. If only I had LeVar Burton as a special guest tonight. This is the TRS-80 Color Computer magazine. This is their birthday issue, Volume 2, Number 1. Their monthly magazine for color computer users, the July issue. And this is the first time they got, like, serious. We need to make this a real magazine. Color on the front, no more teletype or dot matrix printers. Let's make this with table of contents and so forth. They went all out for this issue. They have the NFL winner picker inside, make your own adventure, the education column, tutorials, and then space games. And there it is, celebrating the birthday of the Coco. Isn't that nice? Xerox newsletters. Oh my goodness. We didn't check out those. We did see other ones like by Chromaset and a few other tape catalogs that you could have gotten. But this is the first time that we're seeing the Rainbow magazine here on the channel. Happy birthday to the Rainbow. We'll breeze by some of the ads here. Here's reference cards if you need some help on your computers. But there it is. Look at that. The original TRS-80. Model 1, I believe, on the left side. Wow. And we're going to just go right past the table of contents because this is, we're going to take a look at what's happening in the world of color computing. This area, Color Computing Radio Shack, I wasn't super keen on this place in gaming. And a lot of the video games that are in this magazine and the ones that we've seen on the channel, we can't find. There's so many of these games that aren't either documented or cataloged, so we don't get a full spectrum of every single thing that was available out there. And this isn't true to just the color computer. There was other computers too that you missed out on in games that weren't archived or preserved. So this whole area of the TRS-80 computing and video games, I didn't know anything about this stuff. I'm very thankful to the Color Computer Archive and Curtis Boyle for helping me out with finding, documenting, and getting as much as we can to incorporate in this show, because there's other computers out there that are lost to have even more games that we will never be able to play. And we're probably going to see some here whenever we go to it. Oh, yes. That's right. There's more out there, and that's one reason why I say every video game. There's a big asterisk on. There's no way we're going to be able to play every computer game because of all the computers and all the video games out there. There's just too many lost. All right, so here's the letter section. People are going to write in to the Rainbow, and there's very similar to the Atari Analog magazine. There's a lot of technical information here, including code, because people are sending in letters to the editor about technical help. There's a problem with my Coco. Can you help me out? And they give them answers. Yeah, they have some people asking questions about the newest hardware that's out and secret editing. I just received my first copy of the Rainbow. Most likely, I'd like to know if it's real people that wrote in, or if they're wanting to putting stuff as answers for what they want to talk about in the magazine. So this one person said, I love that they love the Rainbow, but they want to add more to it. Like, can you put a table of contents in? And can you talk about the printer and type style? And for those of us in Canada, please use a full-size envelope instead of folding Rainbow in half. And the editor says, yes, your wishes are command. We did all of it. Everything that you want. Even helping everyone up there in Canada. And here's an ad for Spell and Fix, which we're probably not going to play, and Humbug, and other computer software. This is Star Kits, which I think we've already seen. Yeah, we've seen a few, we'll be seeing some soon by XXO, Shrink we've already seen. Well, actually, Shrink's a version of Eliza, which is the talking computer, or the computer that talks back to you, and even does, it's supposed to be Shrink like as in psychiatrist, so you type into the computer, and it asks you questions about things. We have seen Shrink, and a few of these by Star Kits. It just blows my mind how many games are gone that we cannot play, or they just don't exist. We see them advertised in magazines or publications, catalogs like this, and then you look them up and no one has any information on it. They're totally gone. All right, so we have some more notes to go through. And then over here is an ad for Storm. If you haven't seen our episode on Storm, Storm is the very first time you would be able to play anything close to Tempest at home. And it is in lower resolution on your Coco, but still pretty impressive that it's the very first time anything resembling Tempest could be played. And let's keep breezing through the magazine. We got some more ads on the left side, mailing lists and so forth, bargains going on. And now it's the Rainbow Adventure. They're going to do things differently this month, putting in a type your own or send in your own adventure to the Rainbow. They say down here, when you make adventure games, make your first one a simple one. Don't try designing another Calixto Island, or you'll be disappointed. Just have a few rooms, objects, and verbs in your first attempt at an adventure. And they say that if you do type in or send in your game to the Rainbow, it's the rights go to the Rainbow. So if I go back in time, don't send it into the Rainbow. Make your own adventure game and then go sell it somewhere else. Yeah, they're probably abandoned in different warehouses. I know there's been lots of preservationists that have found computer stores or locations that have been abandoned, and then they go in and catalog all the games, which has been really helpful. One of the reasons that I can do this show is because of all the work that's done for the aficionados of different computers, consoles. There's always someone out there that has the computer or the console that is theirs, that they want to find everything about. And because of people that have done that work, that's why we were able to do this show. So even though I'm the one that's here and presenting everything, all these finds are because of everybody else out there all over the world that have wanted to make sure people don't forget the games that were available. Oh, they did 4 years worth. And okay, yeah, that brings up the other thing. This is a magazine. There's lots of books that have had video games that you could play. And you're talking about the type-in ones, because the ones that they sent in, you had to type in. So you'd have to find the book for it to play. All right, let's go to our next section, which is Prickly Pear's ad. And we've already seen a few of these games too. Football, the Great Word Game, and Viking, the simulation game. That one is where you have to be a business leader or manage your Viking business. And the Rainbow has lots of code or typing in games too, like we've seen with the other magazines we've seen on the channel. Hey, there it is, Trek 80C, classic computer game written for the color computer. A real-time game with moving Klingons action graphics. Only $16K for it, and only $15. Nice touch. Here's an ad by Tom Mix Software. We haven't seen Caterpillar Attack, but we will be seeing it very shortly. And then we have some other ones. Oh, Dancing Devil's on here. Nice. Dancing Devil, it really isn't a game per se. It's but I did play the one that was on the Coco just for fun, kind of like Eliza when we played Shrink. It's not really a game per se. I liked to show it off just to give you a mindset of more of the software that's out there, or the game landscape that's out there. There's Trek 16. We just checked that one out. And then the educational ones, haven't played those. We're not really focusing too much heavily on the educational games. And then let's breeze by the code. Don't need that, but oh, need some cases though to hold our stuff in. Continue on to the next one. Got some more ads to buy some monitor and see lots and lots. Look at this. How many lines of code? 8,000 lines for that? Incredible. And somebody's sending in a thanks. Here we go. We got a comic. Wilson, when I said bring me a large container of chips, I didn't mean a color computer. Ha ha. Dad jokes in 1982. Design programs to help children learn. We don't care. Let's breeze by that fast. And we have a news flash by Prickly Pear. We have a new printer to celebrate the birthday of the Daisy Wheel printers. War Kings, yes. That's right, we did see that one, yep. Love War Kings, the 2-player version. When you don't have 4 people, War Kings, just as good as Warlords. And coming over to our next section, which is about the RS disk system. And I believe they talked about some other new hardware that's coming out, or it just came out. Here we go, Missile Barrage for the Coco, and Sea Battle. Craps or the Gambler, I don't think we're going to be checking that one out. But the ones that we could track down or have been cataloged, we'll be playing those. Or have already played. We've already been... we've been playing so many color computer games. I actually would like to know the number of what's the most games we've seen for each home computer that's out there right now, because we've had a whole barrage of TRS-80 games, and then we played tons of Atari games, and then Apple II. If my money was on it, I'd probably say Apple II for the amount of games out there, just because there's just so much. Oh yes, haven't found any of those yet. Good point. I'm sure if you find them, you're going to send them to me when we're like in 1985, and we go back and play. Because we've done that. People have sent me games that I've already been a few years afterwards, and then they say, wait, what about this game? And I realize, no, I did not play it. So if it pops up, then let me know. We'll go back and play. There it is, the 80C. That's what they're talking about in this article. Moving on to the next part. I really just like, even though this is a virtual magazine, this is where you got all your information in 1982. This is where you got the look at this, the prices, costs for everything. And then the idea that you had a game possible in the palm of your hand that you could type in to play. Such a cool time. That's right. Yeah, add them and then we'll play them later. So there you go. TRS-80 Color talking graphic demonstration. Don't care about that. And I think we saw Slot Machine by Superior. Well, we did see one slot machine, but it's more of a like pop in, there it is, and then move on to the next one. We're not going to play a lot of slot machines on the show. And how to synchronize your SAM chip. That's the 6883 SAM chip. And then they have the breakdown here. Look at that. Very, very technical. Nice touch rainbow. Have some corrections too. We're going to breeze by Spell and Fix too. Don't really care about that as much. And then how to use your ADC again. Oh, that's right. So if you went back in time, would you go ADC nickname, or would you just keep it the Coco? Because obviously now we know it's the Coco, but are there any ADC fans out there that want to call it that? Because TRS-80 Color Computer is long-winded. I keep calling it the Coco. It's affectionately called that way. Make magic rings happen. Nice. We have harmonics ad over on the right side. Get some t-shirts in. Nice. And then over here, oh, I don't know what's happening with Spectral Associates on that ad. It's just a lady shocked at how good her massage is. That's all it is. Then we have a 32K upgrade. And then all these games I think we've seen already. Alcatraz 2, at least the text version. Lothar's Labyrinth. And Madness and the Minotaur. Yes, ADC is terrible. I wouldn't want to call it that. I'm going to keep calling it Coco, even though here they're calling it ADC all over the place. That wasn't a game. I think it's an ad just for Spectral Associates. All right, so let's go to the next section. Disk, keeping track of everything. And again, more type-in code. Here it is. Yeah, there it is. War King, Duel to the End. Lunar Lander, which is a nice one. Where is the Planetoids one? I'm looking to see for that ad, because that one was one of the best ones on the Coco, or some of the old school ones. This is now the new, what's going to be happening later in 1982, or what to look forward to. Madness and the Minotaur. That's what it was. Yes, it was Madness. More code to type in. So much. There we go in Spectral Projects. Now we have what's in the pipeline. See, they keep calling it ABC. It's on sale this month for $300 for the 4K version. Not too shabby. And we also have, they say, magazines in Australia for the Rainbow. So this is not just in North America, which I thought it was primarily for at least the TRS-80 Color Computer in North America. And then we're going to be seeing later the Dragon 32 in Europe. But if TRS-80 was all over the world, why don't we have as much preservation for these games? Yes, that's right. Nowadays it does. We're in 1982. That doesn't exist way back in time. Then we have an ad for Word Clone. Illustrated memory banks. Very nice. And then more assembly language. We are now seeing more and more games display on the box. This was programmed, and it's not in BASIC. We are programming this in machine language or assembly. And it lets you know the game's going to be fast. Oh, Australia too. Yeah, I wasn't aware of Australia. Canada and US, though, yes. Oh, there we go. We got Pack Attack. Be amazed. Brought to your color computer. $25. We have played Pack Attack. It's essentially Pac-Man with a slight twist. That's about it. And then over here is a demonstration program, Frog Race. Comes on cassette. I wonder if it's a Frogger type game. Well, we may never know. Then we have Silly Syntax, Auto Run. And then there it is, Caterpillar Attack. We're going to be seeing that one really soon. Caterpillar with a K coming up. Yeah. Be amazed for the Coco. And here's one we just checked out, Starship Chameleon. Yeah, and it does have a new twist. Switching up the color of your ship, absorbing the objects, similar to Kaboom. That's a fun time. Check that one out if you haven't seen it. And then over here on the right is an ad for, yeah, it's Colorsoft. So it has all their titles. We're trying to snag up as much as we can, not just from this magazine. There's lots of games too. Like, we haven't seen any publications on the show for Commodore VIC-20, but Commodore is all over the place. There's already lots of magazines devoted to the Commodore, and it's going to get even bigger, obviously, when the 64 comes out later. That's predicting the future. There's a lot of titles that we play that are type-in or ones that were harder to come by on the Commodore as well. Yes. I'm amazed at how much they can get out of the memory for the Coco games. We played games that are 4K, and they're all right for 4K games. But I mean, 4K is insane. No Escape. Here's another one. See, you can start typing it. Jim Ebert, compliments of Acesoft Software, and there is the game. Such a cool idea. I know you got to bug the game and debug it, and it's going to take a while for you to type it in, but you have a game right here in the magazine. So cool. And there's Sky Defense. We just checked that one out. It wasn't the best one that you could play at the time. It's only $22.95 though. $23 ain't bad. By Quasar Animations. There's the rest of the code for that game, and then we move down to Quality Software. Yes, Quest, which we've seen. Venture. Venture is pretty cool. It's essentially like Venture in the arcade. That one's a great one for the Coco. And we have Labyrinth, Escape from Mars. Yeah, a lot of these are really good ones. And then Trek Adventure. I think that's the one that's the text adventure game that takes place on the Starship Enterprise. Yes, those programmers. And every now and then we play a Pac-Man clone. And when we play on other computers, I say it's still better than the Atari home computer version. Oh, man. Oh yes, the C64 days are coming up. It is next month. We're first going to get our taste of the Commodore 64. It is July, and we're getting close. There's a lot of stuff that happens at the end of 82 that just starts stacking on top of one another for releases of games and consoles. It's awesome. And then we have plugin problems. Who's got plugin problems? We have conversions if you want it. Stock Analyzer gives a good picture of holdings. Don't care about Stock Analyzer. Mystery Maze, good rendition for those who want to play a 3D maze game. They are all the rage. It's another one of those subgenres of games that I wasn't aware of it was a big deal until I started doing this channel. The 3D maze, the first-person perspective maze. They really kicked up end of 81, and they're all over in 1982. They're all over the place. There's the Scepter of Kurzigla, a real-time graphics adventure with arcade sound for your color computer. I said it was above average for the time, 3.5 stars. Check it out. And then we have the NFL report they said on the front. That's about the football video game. And then keep scrolling down for some more ads. We have macro, and they're still calling it ADC. What in the world? I'm going to keep calling it Coco. Or would it be not based on the times if I keep calling it Coco? Should I be saying ADC? This doesn't sound right. Yeah, Telewriter. Look at all this. So much stuff. And then we have wish you had a lowercase. Color computer users. The other thing this reminds me of is the brochures back in the day when you would want to buy something or purchase. You'd look in the catalog for what you need, and there's just so much information that it doesn't exist anymore. Are your fingers getting sore? Yes, they are. We're typing in so much. Hey, look, there he is. The Starship Chameleon, another ad by Computerware. Nice. And then programs for kids, Circus Adventure. I think we were aware of those games, but I just didn't want to play them. They're a little too basic. Here's some good reasons to join the Rainbow. And yeah, the rest is ads. Let's see. We have Color Scarfman and Ghost Gobbler. 2 more Pac-Man games. Color Scarfman's going for cheaper. And then don't care about the tape directory part. Here it is, Viking. So we have a review, a full review. The Rainbow does what most magazines do at the time. They don't have 5-star ratings or a points score or any of that. They just tell you what the game's about. And this is Viking. It's the managerial business simulation game where you're in charge of if you can lead the Vikings better. And it's essentially just making decisions. They give you a menu-based system to pick from. Oh, they went back and forth for a month. Awesome. I'll still keep going with Coco. That's right. Oh, Team Coco is now, yeah. But we're in 1982. I'll just say it's Color Computer right now. All right, so Viking was interesting. It was still not super... It wasn't super impressive just because of how it was menu-based and you just made the decisions like on a multiple choice. But it was cool pretending to be in charge of an entire Viking clan. And then there's an ad by Color Zap, and we have more hardware. Yes. Color Computer 4K, only $310 in this ad. Nice touch with an index. And there it is. Yes, we've seen these ads before. Cave Hunter, Color Berserk. Color Berserk's pretty nice. And there it is, the ones you talked about for adventure games. Calixto Island and the Black Sanctum. These first came out as text only. And we're going to see later them with color or graphics. Pictures, just like what Scott Adams is doing with his adventure games. So there you go, a taste of what it's like in the world of color computing, or TRS-80 color computing, in July of 1982. We're not going to be seeing or showcasing all of the Rainbow magazines. I wanted to do this one because it was a special birthday issue. They've already been doing the Rainbow for a year. And if we do see any other ones, we might be showcasing ads whenever we get to the games. That's right, it does now. That's a good point. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. We're here on the Commodore VIC-20. This is Ratman. Ratman? I didn't think we were going to be able to get to Ratman. This one has no box. It just has a few screenshots. Let's pop in and play Ratman. The newest by Jeff Minter of Llamasoft in the beginning of July 1982. Oh, there was one on the back cover. Darn. All I'm gonna have to lower this one. Jeff Minter's cranking the volume up on us. A freaked out game from Llamasoft. Are you ready to play Ratman? Alright, so we want instruction or info. Let's push I. This is Ratman. His task is to hammer as many attacking rats as possible. You will control him as below. Move him around and then shift for hammer. And you can use the joystick. We are definitely using the joystick. To kill a rat, whomp him with your hammer. Avoid descending rats and occasional flights of hostile arrows. Hole and floor moves relative to your own motion. Any rat which passes through a hole becomes a devil. Okay. Beware of devil spear thrust under your feet. You have 3 lives. Control hold position by your own motion. Squash rats before they become devils. Keep central area free of devils. Good luck. If Ratman walks into a rat, he cannot move until he hammers it. Warning, rats which are destroyed in the air may not yield a score. Therefore, let rats reach ground before striking. Did everyone get that? Wait a second. It's Jeff Minter. Where's the llamas? I don't understand. So here we go. We are Ratman. We're moving around on the side. If you think it's a platform game, it's really not, because I'm not jumping. I'm just walking around left to right. What you're seeing here is an arcade game. This is the very first time you could play Cheeky Mouse at home. If you remember Cheeky Mouse, I believe that was June 1980 whenever we saw that. But this is the exact same game, way slower paced than the arcade. I would say not as fun, obviously. But I mean, look at this. The response time to smack the rat is just very slow. Yeah, I tuned out when they said, what, devils? What is happening? Yeah, the response is very, very slow. If you were hard-pressed to play Cheeky Mouse, oh my gosh, there it is. That's not a devil. It's just a rat with a spear. There's also no animation of them burrowing down into the ground. They just cease to exist. Yep, I've had enough of this one. Sorry, Ratman. She's going to have way fun playing Ratman. I'd say of all the games you could play on a home computer, Ratman is a slower-paced game. It is a bad game. I wouldn't say broken. It's too bad because Cheeky Mouse was really cool. It was the very, very first video game we ever saw from the perspective of the side, like a human person moving around on the side view. So it's not doing it justice. Play the arcade one, not Ratman. I'll say 2 stars for Ratman. Yeah, it's pretty janky. It doesn't respond very well either. All right, so that is where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Push the break key, hit spacebar. Tune in next episode for the latest release in the arcades by Gottlieb, and if Scott Adams returns, he's going to return with his newest game. That's it for today, and like I always say, it's never over in the arcade. There's always a loose quarter somewhere. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.